Ladies and gents, one more Suji reaction, and this is Classic Summarize the Iliad by the channel Only Sarcastic Productions. The Iliad and the Odyssey, obviously, by Homer. They are the books, I guess, considered poem. I don't know how they are poems, but apparently, yeah. The Iliad is about Trojan Wars, right? I'm pretty sure it is. I think I watched the movie Troy, in that it says the based on Iliad. So yeah, I don't know how much the movie Troy is actually based on this. I mean, people who watches this reaction knows more about Greek mythology than I do, obviously. I know some of the basics, basically. Not in deep. That's why reacting to this channel is fun, because I always learn a thing or two. So obviously people will tell me in the comments where I'm confused or where I'm mistaken, I guess. But yeah, how much is Troy, based on the Iliad? Is it just loosely based in just, writer's imagination? Is that it? I don't know. So let's watch it. I've read to a few Only Sarcastic production videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the link in the description. They are there somewhere. Check out the cards for the different playlists like Real Life Lore, CGP Grey, yeah, because I'm not an internet historian. And yeah, let's watch this one.
The Iliad is one monster of a book. It's more than 600 pages long, and the crazy part was it used to be passed down through oral tradition, meaning it was someone's job to memorize the damn thing and regurgitate it into the willing ears of whoever was listening. On top of that, if I had to guess how many named characters were in it, I'd put the number somewhere between...
Wait a second. So at the early times, it's somebody's job to pass it down generations by verbally saying that? Yeah. Let's just say that this story is not how it started, the one we ended up with, because that's how it is with humans. That test people do, teachers do in the school, where they say something to the first kid and the kid just passes down until the last kid says something completely different from the first one. I'm pretty sure there's lots of modification that was done in the duration of passing down, I guess, until I guess Homer wrote it down. Who the hell knows?
200 and too many. Luckily for us, though, there's only a few characters we actually need to care about. On the Trojan side, those are Hector, Paris, and Helen. And on the Greek side, we've got Achilles, Patroclus, Odysseus, Agamemnon, boo, Menelaus, Diomedes, Ajax the Greater, and Ajax the Lesser, along with a few others. Now, back in the day, Troy was called Ilias, which is why the book is called the Iliad. Translated literally, it'd be called Troy Story.
You got a friend in me.
Yeah.
Troy is awful. Yeah, okay, so I guess my question is already answered here. Troy is not that much based on the actual book. It's mostly writer's imagination then. Okay. It would take me longer to edit it into a possible version of the Iliad than it would have been to make the actual video. Yeah, okay.
Book 1. So our story begins 9 years into the Trojan War, when Agamemnon makes the dumbest decision of his life and pisses off Achilles, the most powerful warrior in his entire army. Basically, Agamemnon had taken this girl Chryseis prisoner, and her father, a priest of Apollo, came to try and get her back. He offered Agamemnon untold riches or whatever, which Agamemnon turned down on the principle of being an asshole. So predictably enough, this powerful and desperate priest of Apollo prayed to the god in question, who gladly started raining down plagues upon the Greek army. Agamemnon is somehow surprised that pissing off this super powerful deity could go so badly for him, but still refuses to return the girl until Achilles starts verbally slapping him around, to the point that Athena has to physically come down and stop him from straight up murdering.
At least, that temper is shown in the movie, I guess. So yeah, basically, the Agamemnon, whatever his name is, I can't even say it. Agamemnon, I don't know. Yeah, so he basically, steals some priest, Apollo's priest girl, and that's why the plague was coming on the army. That's why Achilles was pissed, like, give the girl back, so, we don't have plague or something. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Agamemnon, I guess in the movie Troy, I watched it so long ago, but I think Brian Cox plays that role. Yeah, but I mostly know that name from the game Assassin's Creed Odyssey. In that, there is an armor of Agamemnon that's just awesome. There's also place of palace of Agamemnon, whatever. Which the area, I forgot. Mycenaean area, whatever. So yeah, that's why I know that name. But yeah, Athena herself comes down. Yeah, she comes down a lot to help this, I guess, demigod heroes, whatever. Is Achilles a demigod? I don't know. I think he's a demigod, right?
his commanding officer. By the way, you may have noticed that there seem to be an awful lot of gods in this story. No, you ain't seen nothing yet. So Agamemnon finally agrees to return the girl to her father, but there's one condition. Achilles will, in exchange, have to give Agamemnon his chosen lady toy, a gorgeous lass named Briseis. Achilles, though thoroughly bummed, does the smart thing and gives her up. Then he does the not smart thing and refuses to fight. He curls up into a sulky blanket burrito in his tent and refuses to come out for anything. Now, Achilles is by far the most powerful Greek warrior among them, later myths even painting him as invincible, so this is a pretty hefty loss for the Greek forces. Achilles then proceeds to make things even worse for them by praying to his mom, a minor goddess named Thetis, to get Zeus to help the Trojans. That's right, he's so pissed at Agamemnon that he's willing to make them lose the war out of spite. Of course, since I also hate Agamemnon, this doesn't really bother me all that much, but still, not cool, bro. Book 2. So, Zeus, as we all know, likes nothing better than screwing with mortals, so he's all for this plan. He sends a dream to Agamemnon urging him to attack Troy full force and promising him victory. So Agamemnon's like, great idea! Nothing bad has ever come from me listening to the gods! And then Hector hears a similar message from Zeus and immediately marshals his forces to attack. Book 3 is a list. It's just a list. The person rattling off the list is Helen, who punctuates her description of the Greeks with a lot of self-loathing commentary. But wait, this book actually has some action. Shock, I know. Menelaus, Helen's real husband, challenges Paris, Helen's current husband, to a duel. Paris is all for this plan, but there's just one problem. Paris is a total wimp. Menelaus kicks his ass, but before he can kill him and solve the war for good, Aphrodite decides to intervene and whisk Paris off the battlefield and off to Helen's chambers. Helen's like, goddammit.
Oh yeah, Aphrodite is one of the main reason why Trojan War happened in the first place, right? Yeah, we saw the video, Aphrodite video.
Aphrodite, what do you want? And Aphrodite's like, now kiss! Side note. That interaction pretty much summarizes the entire dynamic between Paris, Helen, and Aphrodite. The story's a little more complicated than this, but basically, Aphrodite promised Paris the hand of the most beautiful woman in the world in exchange for a golden apple. Specifically, the golden apple of discord crafted by Ares, goddess of discord, who was pissed after not getting invited to a wedding. The other two contenders for the golden apple were Athena and Hera, who you'd think would have better things to do. He accepted, and Aphrodite held up her end of the bargain by kidnapping Helen from her comfortable life as Menelaus' wife and delivering her to Paris, although some versions involve Paris kidnapping her himself. So basically, at this point, Aphrodite has done nothing but mess up Helen's life, and the whole war is also kind of her fault, so it's no surprise that nobody in the story really likes her that much. Anyway, back to the actual plot. So back on the battlefield, Menelaus is an unholy degree of pissed, riding in circles, frothing at the mouth, yelling, "Come back here and die like a man!" You know the works. So then in Book 4, the gods discuss what to do and decide that abject chaos is way more fun than peaceful resolution. So Athena pops down into the Trojan ranks and double dog dares an archer to shoot at Menelaus. The arrow whiffs, the temporary truce between the two armies immediately dissolves, and they all go back to wailing on each other. So Book 5 is all about this lesser known.
So basically, in the Greek mythology, gods just see the humans as basically an entertainment instrument. They don't care about the people. They're just trying to have fun, I guess. How to make this more entertaining? Let's make sure that the war is started, I guess, and make chaos.
But incredibly badass Greek hero, Diomedes. So Diomedes is tearing through the Trojan army, you know, like you do, when Athena notices that two gods she particularly dislikes, Aphrodite and Ares, happen to be interfering with the battle. So she pops down to Diomedes like, "Hey, so I've given you magic eyeballs. Now you can tell who's secretly a god and who's not. And let me be clear about this. Do not fight the gods. You will lose. Unless it's Aphrodite, then fight all you want. She's somewhere between marshmallow fluff and a baby chick in terms of battle prowess." So Diomedes acknowledges and continues to tear his way through the army, when suddenly he sees Aphrodite doing her thing and lifting one of her injured dudes off the battlefield. Diomedes is like, "None of that!" and chucks a spear through her wrist. So she's like, "Ow!" and drops the dude in question and zips back to Olympus, whining incessantly. Meanwhile, back at the front, Apollo grabs the dude Aphrodite was trying to save. His name is Aeneas, by the way. He's got his own book or something, I don't know. And Diomedes immediately tries to stab him. Apollo's like, "Step off, kid. Some of us gods are a little..."
Trying to shoot Apollo. He's like, "Do you know what my name is?" No, shut up. Say my name right now. Who the fuck am I?
Sturdier than Aphrodite. And Diomedes does the smart thing and backs off. And then Ares shows up. Yay! So Athena's like, "Diomedes, why aren't you hitting him?" And he's like, "Because you told me not to?" And she's like, "Forget what I said, kid. You're the best around!" And then Diomedes stabs Ares in the gut, which video game logic tells me must make him the new god of war. So Ares runs home to Zeus crying, and Zeus is like, "Man up, you gigantic disappointment." So now Ares hurts on the outside and the inside. Book 6 is pretty boring. Someone tells Hector to tell the women of Troy to pray to Athena to stop Diomedes from single-handedly killing every single one of them. So he does, and they do, but she doesn't, and he continues to be awesome. Book 7 is a little more interesting.
Of course he doesn't. She's the one who made him like that, I guess. Gave the power and things.
Apollo's like, "Hey Athena, you know what would be cool? If your chosen hero didn't end the war in one day. I That'd be cool, right? And Athena's like, you make an excellent point. Let's stop the war and make Hector fight someone. So they pause the war again. You know, I really don't think it should be that easy. And the various Greek heroes we actually care about hold an impromptu lottery to see who gets to fight Hector. Great Ajax, not to be confused with lesser Ajax, wins the lottery and he and Hector duke it out until nightfall, at which point they both call it a day and go home. So book 8 is called The Tide of Battle Turns, and that's basically what happens. The Greeks start losing and the Trojans start winning. Now it's time for book 9. So Agamemnon's like, damn it, it's almost like we're missing our strongest fighter and the gods are working against us. What do you know? So Agamemnon's like, I vote we run away. Who wants to run away? And Diomedes is like, you've got to be kidding me. You called us cowards and now you want us to cut and run? God, this guy is so cool. So Agamemnon's like, no. What I meant to say was, who wants to go talk to Achilles and get him to fight with us again? So he sends Ajax and Odysseus to talk to Achilles, who's still burritoed up in his tent with Patroclus. So Ajax and Odysseus are like, yo, Agamemnon's willing to give you your girlfriend back, along with a ridiculous amount of wealth and a few kingdoms if you get out there and help us fight. And Achilles is like, nope, he's a jerk. In fact, I sail home tomorrow unless something really tragic and unnecessary happens to make me stay and fight. Hey, if it isn't my best buddy Patroclus. I don't know what I'd do if this guy died. That, folks, is what we in the writing biz call foreshadowing. Book 10 is
So apparently Achilles and Patroclus were not just friends, seeing the comments. Huh.
basically a Metal Gear Solid mission. Not even kidding. So it's night, and Agamemnon and Menelaus gather some main characters and are like, okay, do we have some volunteers to infiltrate the Trojan camp and find out their plans? And Diomedes is like, well, I did just finish carving a bloody canyon through the Trojan forces, so sure, I'm game. And Odysseus is like, you'll want me as well. I have actual cognitive faculties, quite rare among this army. So Odysseus, the
What is this anime version of the anime version of the Iliad? I love this.
only sneaky guy in the entire Greek army, gets partnered up with my man Diomedes for a stealth mission. That's right, this epic officially has everything now. But at the same time, in the Trojan camp, Hector has the same idea, and sends a much less important character to scout the Greek ships. Predictably enough, the two stealth teams encounter each other, and Diomedes and Odysseus capture and interrogate the poor guy. He's like, I'll tell you everything! And Odysseus is like, huh, ballin'. And then they decapitate him. Using the information Odysseus extracted from him, they sneak into the Trojan camp, ballin'. And then they decapitate him. Using the
What information? You just cut off his bloody head. What? So he just cut off his head without any information.
information Odysseus extracted from him, they sneak into the Trojan camp and steal an extremely fancy chariot and some armor from a king.
Excellent snake.
Now it's time for Book 11. The sun rises and it's back to war we go. So today is Agamemnon's time to shine, and while he's busy kicking ass and taking names, some minor hero that Achilles is fond of gets wounded. So Achilles is like, hey Patroclus, can you go out there and ask Nestor who that was? I need to make sure before I start feeling sad. So Patroclus does, and Nestor's like, hey, so it sure is nice of Achilles to feel bad when his friends start getting hurt. But, it'd be even better if, he helped out so that didn't happen. So yeah, can you have a talk with him about that? Patroclus is like, I only promise to try. Book 12, the war continues. Zeus smacks the Greeks with a thunderstorm, allowing the Trojans to start beating them. Man, divine intervention is such a hack. So this pushes the Greeks all the way back to the ships. And in Book 13, Poseidon gets a little sick of Zeus hogging the show, so he drops by to give the Greeks a little help by buffing the two Ajaxes with some stat boosts. So then the Greeks start winning. In Book 14, Hera uses her feminine wiles to distract Zeus from his efforts to buff the Trojans and depower the Greeks, so the Greek army continues to win. In Book 15, Zeus wakes up after being thoroughly wilded by Hera and gets mega pissed to see that his favored side is now losing. Ares is like,
What?
hey, I think one of my kids down there just died.
Is that actually in the story? Damn, that's way too much detail about, Zeus and Hera.
This looks like a lovely excuse for war. And Athena dope slaps the armor off him like, idiot, Zeus is already mad enough. If you remind him of how much of a failure you are, he'll get even madder. And Ares is like, oh. So the tide of battle turns again, and the Trojans start winning. At this point, it's really become formulaic. By the time Book 16 rolls around, Patroclus has gotten back to Achilles like, hey, dude, could I maybe persuade you to go out and fight? Our guys are kind of getting destroyed. I mean, even Agamemnon is injured. And Achilles is like, ha, nice. And Patroclus is like, seriously, Achilles, they're dying out there. They need our help. And Achilles is like, well, I really can't have them burn our ships. Tell you what, dying out there. They need our help. And Achilles
Brotherly affection, yeah, okay.
is like, well, I really can't have them burn our ships. Tell you what, you go out in my armor and lead my army. The Trojans will never know the difference between us. And Patroclus is like, anything for you, man. And Achilles is like, just one thing. Promise me you'll come back alive. And Patroclus is like, of course I will, bro. And not 5 minutes later, Hector kills him. Book 17 is pretty uneventful. The Greeks see Patroclus go down and collectively Hulk out to defend his body, and Hector takes Achilles' armor and wears it around. Book 18, the battle continues, although now it's centered around defending Patroclus' corpse. Meanwhile, Achilles is still burritoed up in his tent, having no idea that his bestie is currently dead. That is, until a messenger arrives bearing those very tidings, causing Achilles to similarly Hulk out. He's like, "That's it, time to single-handedly kick Troy's ass!" And his mom Thetis is like, "No, Achilles, you're fated to die if you fight!" And he's like, "I couldn't save my hetero life partner, Mom, this life isn't worth living anymore!" And then the rest of the chapter is devoted to Hephaestus making Achilles new duds. In Book 19, Achilles puts on his new duds. Yeah, this epic kind of drags on in places. In Book 20, Achilles carves a bloody murder canyon through the Trojan forces despite various gods' best attempts to stop him. In Book 21, Achilles fills a river with so many corpses that the river itself gets pissed and starts trying to drown him. So he beats it up until
This is not happening, man. So Achilles basically kills so many people. Literally, the water comes out and try to kill it. Like, man, you're ruining all the water here. Okay.
it stops bothering him. Then he gets distracted and starts chasing Apollo around the city because all the best heroes have ADD. Just ask any side-questing Skyrim player. In Book 22, Achilles finally becomes him. So he beats it up until it stops bothering him. Then he gets distracted and starts chasing Apollo around the city.
Apollo, okay.
Because all the best heroes have ADD. Just ask any side-questing Skyrim player. In Book 22, Achilles finally remembers...
Why is Apollo running though? I mean, really? Achilles is that powerful that Apollo's running? Okay.
What he's there for. And after an extremely slapstick routine where he chases Hector around Troy several times, he finally kills him. Yay! Then he ties Hector's body to his chariot and rides it around Troy 3 times to parade the body off to
I've seen this in the movie.
Hector's father, the king. Yay? And the rest of the book is, actually pretty boring. The Greeks hold Patroclus' funeral, during which they basically just play a lot of party games. And then, at some point after the Iliad cuts off, but before they officially sack Troy, Achilles gets shot in the heel by Paris and dies. Yay!
Oh yeah, that's also in the movie, yeah. So basically this is all about, Achilles is way too badass. Agamemnon, it's just weird to say his name. He's just an a-hole basically, and gods just have a, I guess, wild party. They just do whatever the F they want. They have fun, I guess. And Zeus is obviously just eager to have fun there. Oh, of course I will oblige. Why wouldn't I? So yeah. So this is basically Homer's version of Trojan Wars. He just took Trojan Wars, added all this god element to it, and wrote it down, right? Wait a minute, Homer didn't write it. People just pass it down, and Homer just eventually wrote it down, I guess. That's the case. Yeah. Alright, people. That was the Iliad. Wait a minute. There's still 40 seconds left. That take too long and way too many drawings. On the plus side, I can move my hands again. Yay. So pretty story, yeah? Just can't wait for the sequel, Troy Story 2. Also known as the Odyssey. Ah, okay. Odyssey will bite snake. A good thing too. I like to think of this as all Agamemnon's fault, not much of a stretch. You know the one good thing that came out of Troy? This song. It's Achilles Brad Pitt's theme and it's pretty great. Yeah, okay. Just don't watch that movie and expect to get an education. So that movie sucks basically, because there's lots of differences, even I noticed. So that, why do they do that, man? Just keep to the original story and just change a bit here and there. Why do Hollywood always do this? Change completely. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was great. Alright, people, if you like my Rick Sunday phone, like and subscribe. Check out the Rick Sunday. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast playlist. Check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.